We're starting in 5, 4, 3.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Giant Blue Spoilercast for SpiderMan Homecoming. We're a little late on this one, but oh well.
Just tell them we're filming it. We're filming it. We've just come back from the cinema.
After.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Wow, it's just taken us ages to edit it.
We're so hyped.
Yeah. We'll cut that. Let's do it again. Sorry.
No, that's
What?
fun.
What?
Keep going.
Okay, sorry.
Alright.
Now we gotta cut it. no. Let's keep going. We're fine.
We're going to it.
Alright, keep going.
All right, let's just go around. Did you enjoy the film?
Yes.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs
Yes.
up.
Thumbs up.
Two thumbs up.
If I have to go up or down, it's an up.
It's an up. I think where the consensus is everyone liked it.
Yeah, definitely.
Loved it or liked it.
I actually really
good.
Like to love.
I enjoyed
think
it a lot
loved
too.
actually.
I saw it. I've seen it.
kinda
So
loved it,
how many
yeah.
times have I've seen it twice?
I've only seen it once.
I think I
Seen
enjoyed
it
it.
once.
I think I enjoyed it again the second time more. I was able to sort of digest it a bit better because.
Well, are we doing spoilers yet?
Of course.
Are we doing a spoiler warning?
Spoilercast.
Do we have to
Let
say
me get
that?
this point out of the way first, and then we'll
Okay.
jump into spoilers.
Alright.
I want to call out someone on Twitter,
Okay.
Greg
Ooh.
Miller. I'm calling you out, buddy. You hyped it up way too much. He put up before I saw it. He put a tweet that was like, "Spider-Man: Homecoming is the best
jeez.
superhero film I have ever seen."
I don't know if we're popular enough to
And
be
I was like-
slamming other reviewers yet.
I mean, it's his review. He wants to do it, but I was just like, I was more mad at myself that I read it.
Right.
But I was just like, the best superhero film ever, not just the best
Yeah,
Spider-Man
I've got
film.
it here. I'm speechless. That's pretty intense
I'm
to start off like
speechless.
that.
It was perfect. God bless you.
God bless you, Tom Holland.
I was like, crap, I've seen this. So the whole time watching, I'm like, this isn't that great. Like, whatever. I was like, so I came out of it like, yeah,
It's going to be really awkward when we have to
He
raise
just- he
Miller
just
as a
hyped it
guest
up a
on the
little
show.
bit
He
too
just
much.
hyped it up way too much.
Oh,
for
way
me.
too much.
Well, because he said
Well,
it
he's like, I'm
was the best
speechless.
superhero movie
It was
of all
perfect.
times.
Like,
It was
there's nothing
perfect.
wrong with it.
And so I was expecting this like
Damn it, Greg.
more. I just expected more, and then I didn't really get that. And I came out like, meh. Like that
I
was
think
good.
you
That was
shouldn't
good.
tweet when you're too excited. Because I remember when Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out, I wrote a Facebook post, like, as I was walking out of the cinema that night, I was like, this is a game changer. Amazing Spider-Man 2 is like one of the best superhero films in the last...
Two?
Amazing
Yeah, 2.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, because, I'll tell you why, because Gwen Stacy died, and that shooketh me.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, that's never happened.
That's literally
I wasn't-
just about it, though, right?
I wasn't.
Well, the rest of the film's not that great.
That's what I mean.
That's what I mean. I was impressed that they went there and that they
Yeah.
did it so dramatically, but that it couldn't make up for the
Well,
garbage.
I
that was the
agree.
rest of
Like
the
6
film.
months later, I was looking back and I was like, I mean, that's
Yeah.
still like a big moment, but the film is, yeah.
Well, tastes change, as
Taste
we all
does
know.
change, yeah.
Arrow is the greatest show on television.
I'm so glad we
Taste
have that on
change.
camera.
You're the only
Taste
one that...
change. I'll gotta
You
find
keep
that. I
bringing
gotta
that up.
find that audio clip somewhere.
Yeah,
and
find it.
Put it up.
Because I would just want to play it at your wedding or something. I was like, this is the man you're marrying. He thinks Arrow is the greatest show on
She'd be
TV.
like, what show? Oh,
I'm going to run in. I object! Anyway.
She'd be like, you mean that show, the animated? I'm like, no, that's Archer. Like, yeah. All right, so do you want to jump into spoiler
Alright,
territory
spoilers,
then? All
spoilers,
right, spoiler
yeah.
warning now. If you haven't seen the film, don't keep watching.
Everyone's seen the
You've
film
been
at this point.
warned.
All right, do you want to just...
Actually, not that many people, I guess, have seen the film if it's
Well,
opening weekend.
yeah.
what was it
so-
rated on IMDb? Sorry, did you say?
I didn't tell you, but I can tell you. And
Because we were just discussing the opening weekend, which wasn't that good. I think it was the lowest of any of the
The
Spider-Man
lowest drop
films.
off. It had one of the biggest openings and then just drop off. And I think that I was talking about this with my girlfriend. Yeah, there's we've talked about this. There is superhero fatigue. It's like creeping up.
yeah,
But I think the Spider-Man fatigue.
Yeah.
I think that's
there's a
evident.
fuck ton of Spider-Man.
Like,
There are
yeah,
so
my girlfriend
many
was just like,
Spider-Man
I don't want to see another Spider-Man film. And I was like, but it's really good. She's like, yeah, but it's Spider-Man. And I'm like, I think a lot of people feel that way. That
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
no matter how unique and how different and how cool this movie is and how good it is, yeah, it's
It's
still
like the
it's you
sixth
can't
one,
yeah, it
you
is
know?
the sixth Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Which
So
I've seen that joke. It's like Spider-Man Suits. Yeah, like
That being said, though, I think they did their best. I'm so glad they didn't do the whole Ben dying, Uncle Ben thing. I mean, that would have just been awful if they'd
I would
sit
have
through
liked,
the
I think, a mention though.
Well, they hinted at it a couple of times, I think.
People say that, and I was sort of looking out for. There's some somber scenes where, like, Marissa Tomei, like, I don't know, I think she's like looking at something. Or they, I don't know.
No, there's
actually.
like 2 or 3 moments where Tom Holland's like, "Oh, my aunt's been through a lot in like the last 6 months or a year."
That's it. Yeah,
Which I guess, I mean, to me that was enough. I was like, "Oh, Uncle Ben has
Well, you
died
didn't
in
need
this
to roll over
version
that
of the
again.
universe."
I
Would have
think
taken up too much time.
I really did
Yeah,
enjoy
it's,
it.
it's kind of a different story as well because it's about how he's interacting with.
And
Iron
likewise,
Man,
they didn't do the origin where he gets bitten and stuff. They
There
talked,
was a one note to the friend.
Yeah. He talked about it with the other dude, and he was like, "Oh, so can you like do this? Can you do that, or something?" And
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so I really did like it. I think the second time because I wasn't thinking about the Greg Miller tweet. You son of a bitch.
fuck you, Greg. Miller.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
jeez.
love you, but oh god.
He's our guest next week.
So coming into the second time, I sort of had my expert, and I was just like, no, this is a good film. This is a great film. This is so good. It's so much fun. Tom Holland is perfect.
He's amazing.
He nails like everything.
He does.
We joked about that, where it's like, I don't want to be Spider-Man. I want to be Tom Holland. Like,
Yeah.
he's so good.
He's like a gymnast and a dancer.
Yeah.
He's like a good-looking and
he's
funny
fucking great.
dude.
Yeah.
But they don't make him like he's just like high school. Just there's so much good about this film as well.
Yeah,
They did
yeah.
like. I always talk about like
And he's
why
younger,
I
too.
didn't like 13 Reasons Why because it felt like it's like it's older people writing the way they think kids talk, and so
Yeah.
everyone's dead quippy and referencey and like they're all uber confident. I'm like, it's too weird.
Yeah, it's
whereas
not high
this, it was so good you didn't even think about it. That's what I mean. It's like.
That's a really good point.
It's like,
yeah.
you know, we talk about with CGI, like when it's bad you notice it, but when it's good you don't even
Yeah,
think
yeah.
about it. And it was like that. It was just kids, and everything felt so real. The high school
And part
parts.
of that, though, because we've talked about this as well, is the age thing. Like, it looked like a high school. He didn't
Yeah.
look like he was like 27.
yeah.
Everyone looks young. Everyone is young.
I
Like
have no idea how old Zendaya was, but she even was fine.
I'm not sure. Yeah, because I think Tom Holland's like 20, but he looked.
He looks young.
He's 15 in the movie. I want to
Yeah,
say.
if I was
15
a
or something like that.
16-year-old, 15-year-old girl, I'd have a
Oh.
crush on him.
He's he's just everything about that like is so cool, and like
Yeah.
props to them. Like I've not seen this recognition, but it's one of the most diverse high schools I've ever seen as
Yeah,
well.
well,
Do you notice
yeah.
that? Yeah.
I feel like they went out of their way to do it, and
Yeah.
I'm almost like, was it too much? Not too much. I loved it as well.
I liked it though.
I
like,
loved
it just it gave. I feel like everyone had like a time to shine. All the kids, like everyone had their little moment and stuff like that. And I love Ned. I thought Ned was great.
Ned was
I've heard
great.
some people didn't quite like him, but I really did.
Yeah.
I liked him.
I like
I
Ned
liked him.
and like the person in the chair and stuff like that. All that stuff was really good. Marissa Tomei was really good. I thought
She was good.
Like. I don't understand the criticism with her as well. Everyone's like, it doesn't make sense. She's too hot and whatever. And I'm like, she's an aunt. She's not a grandma. Like now that I think about it, I never understood why Aunt May in the Sam Raimi films was ancient.
Yeah, because bloody what's his name? Tobey Maguire was ancient.
Yeah, well,
Ah.
I mean, that's,
He was
So they're
like 30
trying to
years
make
old.
him
Yeah.
look younger by making everyone else really
I
old.
guess.
Is that what- yeah.
I mean, it comes from like that time, yeah, that you just hire older because, I mean, that's what they say is like don't work with kids and don't work with pets or animals, whatever
don't
it is.
work
Yeah,
with animals, yeah.
but
just
like-
work with actors that look younger. It's
Well-
Zendaya is 21, by
But
the
I
way.
mean, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
in the early 20s, I mean, it's probably okay.
Yeah.
Even in like shows like Glee, they
Yeah.
have
Yeah, they
they
were-
have kids who are like 30.
we
Like,
just hire people that I guess look younger as well.
yeah.
Like Tom Holland does have like a younger face.
Yeah,
and whatnot.
definitely,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
It definitely helps.
and I've said it many times as well. It's like I never, and this is gonna sound so stupid, but like I never understood that Spider-Man was like an allegory for puberty. Like your body's changing. Like he's
Well, until this movie?
he's-
Or?
well,
Until this
until
movie, yeah.
Tom Holland.
Ah, okay.
Because he is a high schooler. Like Tobey Maguire to me was an adult, so I
Yeah.
never understood that. But everything about like the hairs
He's a
and the
man.
fingers and like
Yeah.
and he's buff and he can climb and he can shoot web and all that. It's all just like the changes in your body. It's all high school puberty stuff. It's all connected kind of thing, and it's really awesome. And I think that's what we needed as well in the MCU is like a
Yes.
diverse character. We needed everyone's like 35 to 50 white old male dudes.
Yeah.
I said that
Yeah.
before it came out. I
So
was
did
like,
I was
well,
like,
I know
can't
we all
wait.
did.
Yeah, I can't wait for Tom Holland to quit with Iron Man because
Yeah.
he is a kid, and you want that generational gap and that different
Because
view on stuff.
it's not
yeah.
just diversity of like gender or race. Like, I mean, I'm glad Black Panther is there, but
Yeah,
I'm
and
like
Falcon and,
diversity
and
of
all that,
age,
yeah.
like diversity of character.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
man,
just different views and
it's
stuff
so
like that.
good to finally have like a kid
Yeah.
there who's like not sure what's going on. Everybody else is just like, yeah, I'm a superhero. What's up?
Well, that's what everyone's been praising it too. Is like it is more of It's like a coming of age. It's not just a good superhero movie. It's a good coming of age story too. And I think you can see a lot of the inspiration is from
Breakfast Club.
John Hughes, and
John
Breakfast
Hughes,
Club and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly
Like
what I was thinking.
it feels like that. And
Did he do Fast Times at Ridgemont High as well? Was that John Hughes?
I'm not sure. He did.
Probably not.
I don't know.
He did a few of those, like the high school sort of. Did a couple.
But I do because my a friend was in town. He hadn't seen it, so that's when I went and saw it again the second time. And he loved like just how like him running through the suburbs. He was like, that's like that question. It's like, what would he do without the buildings? And it is like he's just. I talked about this like, it made me feel like a kid again. Like because I never liked the Sam Raimi films that much, but Spider-Man was always the superhero I wanted to be, and this made me feel like that again. Like when he like. Because it's not a lot of swinging, it's like a lot of quick kind of pulling.
Yeah,
just
because
to
otherwise
get up.
you pull yourself into a building.
Yeah, and so it's like I think when he's leaving his house or like an apartment or whatever, and he's just like it's like, and he just pulls himself up like out, and I was just like that. Oh, it's so good. And then when he swings, like the treehouse falls down, and then a lot. I mean, that's why I think I said this to you when I came out the first time. I'm like. It's just watching him run for like half an hour. It's him just running because he can't swing, and it's like him trying to balance plates or whatever, and then like he eventually like breaks down. He's like cries in front of Aunt May, and he's like, I lost the Stark internship, and like I think I wanted more from that because it was like your friends almost died. Like you are trying to do all these different things. You're trying to take on too much, and he is just a kid.
And it's an emotional film too. Like as you just said, like the moment where he breaks down is like really touching. But then the other moment where he's trapped under the building, we all like loved that scene. I think
that is an amazing scene. Which I was trying to say. I think I mentioned on one of the podcasts. Is I wish it went for longer. I just wish it just held longer when he's crying and calling for help, and the water's in his hair and stuff like that, and he's like he can't lift it.
I guess, but
it probably was. But
there's moments like that in a lot of films where there's like that, like they have to overcome like this internal struggle before they get to the external struggle. Like there's always a moment where they're like trying to lift something or push something. But and this one for him, it was the best I think I've ever seen.
It was just so reminded you that he was like a kid too. Like he just felt so young, and he was just screaming, "Help me!" And I thought someone was there. Like you thought Iron Man. I thought Thor was going to come down for some reason. I don't know why. I just thought like Heimdall's like this kid's calling for help. He's like, and then but
nobody came for help. It's great.
It's all about him, and apparently that scene is like lifted directly from like the comic, which I like or something like that. It's a comic book scene.
I've not read the comic, but
neither have I.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many
watched like
comics.
a video.
Who's read all the Spider-Man?
That's true.
It's about like his will and like his willpower to just keep pushing on. That scene is tremendous. So like kudos to like Tom Holland's like acting ability. And
Tom Holland
like
is amazing. Yeah.
By the oath.
What have I got here?
So what do we not like?
Yeah,
about
the negative things.
What's the negative things? Can I start this off? Because I'm like.
Well, can I say one
Depends on
good
whether
thing
or
that
not
really caught me off guard
right,
that I love? I've been because this is like a lot like what I've been.
And then
wanting
we'll
to tell.
slam it.
It's like it's when he first of all he's got all the tech or whatever, and he's like that parachute comes out, which does more harm than good. It pulls him into the water, and he nearly drowns. Which they get over that pretty damn quick. But anyway, and then Tony Stark saves him, and he's in the suit or whatever. And he's just like talking to Tom Holland. He's like, "Do you know how close you got to death that night?" And I remember thinking in my head, I was like, "I bet they didn't. They can't afford Tony Stark for that. They can't afford Robert Downey for that many scenes. So that's why they can just have the face and just have his voice, or whatever." And then they were like, "Fuck you, Jack," because then they worked that into the narrative. Tom Holland's like, "Are you here?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm actually not here." And the suit opens up and it's a drone. And I was like, "Oh, they worked it into the narrative." And they double were like, "Fuck you, Jack," because then they cut and they showed Tony Stark in India and they showed him on screens. They're like, "We can afford Robert Downey Jr." Like all you film snobs who are like, "Oh, he's inside the helmet, so they don't have to give him FaceTime or whatever." It's like, no, screw you. So I was like, that was a really cool moment that I thought
was a great moment.
Put me in my place. Yeah. Anyway, I don't think there was anything that I particularly disliked. I mean, what did you guys think of the villain?
I liked the villain.
Well, sorry, you were working up to something.
Well, yeah, so. I mean, I've been working up to this for months, though.
I really liked the villain, though. I think he was great.
I thought the villain was
great. Yeah. I don't have any... I'd like how they made...
They humanized him.
Yeah, that and also like worked him into like so closely into Peter's life as well, which is kind of like is the same with the Green Goblin from the
Peter's
previous.
Life, did you say?
Yeah, because he was.
Okay.
It wasn't Michelle. What's the lady that he's trying to? The older one, whatever her name is, the daughter of the Vulture. I like how they did that. But that was like I don't know. That's kind of like what you want from. I don't know. It's like it's a problem that a lot of kids have is like dealing with. like the parents of the person they love or something.
Yeah.
And they
This is
turned into
taking
like
it to
he's a
extreme.
fucking super badass.
Yeah.
So I'm going to argue with
They
you
put
guys now.
they put the superhero spin on it. I did
No,
like
I
that.
hated
Everything's-
that.
You hated the twist.
I hated the twist. Hated it so much.
It
was
was
so
you could
much
see it
like-
coming. Is that why?
No, it was the opposite. It didn't make sense to me. Like,
Why
it
not?
was like...
It was too forced,
It felt forced. It was like, all right, we're going into the third act. We need them to have a confrontation, but we're not ready for them to fight yet. It's like, ooh, let's make him the dad of like the love interest. And I was like, no, that's such a bad twist. It was just such a... There was no reason for it.
It took me out the first time, but I think I enjoyed it the second time, and I think I enjoyed it just because my friend next to me went, and I think that's like a lot. There was like, I wish I saw it in a bigger, like with a lot of people. Every time I went, it was like not very many people. I wish I saw it like with a big group because I would have loved to hear that.
The gasp.
The gasp and like the audience reaction because it really did take everyone out of it.
Well, when the door opened and he walked in, I thought he was there to like capture her.
Yeah, I was like, he's tied.
Yeah,
He's tied them up.
That's right.
Yeah,
and then the
she was
wife
just
comes in, and I was like, is he pretending to be the? And then I was like,
my
brain was
pretending.
I was like, my
that,
brain was
yeah.
like,
Does
what's
the-
going on? And then I
Does
was
the
like,
wife not realize that that's not her
yeah,
husband?
yeah. I was like trying to like justify.
And then
it.
she
And then I
walks
was
in,
like,
she's like, Dad. And I was like, no.
well, yeah, I was like, oh wow, they're really going for this.
I
And
don't-
then I got over it fairly quick, and I was like, okay, this is.
I still haven't gotten over
I think I liked it because right after that, where they've got the car scene where he's like the dad's slowly working out that he's Spider-Man.
That shot really well.
That
When
did
the lights,
really
like
well.
the green light turns on, and he's like,
oh shit!
He's
Yeah.
like, you're
I
right.
agree, that scene is awesome.
Yeah.
I
And,
love
And like he
that
just
scene.
he feels like so powerless when he gets out of the car.
He's like, don't.
Although
mess
that
with
scene that
me.
immediately follows him getting out of the car and like it's really kind of dreary and he's like fuck there's not like what the fuck am I gonna do? He's like looking around the crowd inside the auditorium and then Michelle's just like flips him off and it's like still I don't know if you guys remember that part but he's like looking at it, he's like what am I gonna
it's
do?
a dreary
Jay?
scene where there's like a slight bit of humor.
And it's like
It's almost like
they
yeah,
kind of
that
took
balance,
away from
yeah.
that part of it
a little bit,
but
yeah.
I think that's the only part that annoyed me about that
Oh,
whole.
that's funny you mentioned that.
that whole
'cause
thing with the dad.
That scene reminded me of in Kick-Ass, in the finale of Kick-Ass where they're like beating up Big Daddy in Kick-Ass, and there's a scene where the friends are watching and there's like one of the girls and they're crying, but the girl's like crying onto the shoulder of one of the friends, and he goes like that, and it's like this weird, funny moment. I liked it at the time, but now we watched that article on like bathos and taking away from it, I'm not sure if I would like it as much anymore. But it's funny that reminded me of Kick-Ass because a lot of the film reminded me of Kick-Ass in a weird way.
I get that.
Just because I think it was so real with the kids. But it's funny because Kick-Ass in itself is influenced by Spider-Man, so it kind of comes full circle.
Yeah.
But Kick-Ass did what we were saying before, is like it hired a lot of actors that looked quite young, and it was more believable that they were in high school, I think. And just a lot of the shots, because Kick-Ass starts, he's not, like he says that, he's like, I'm not a jock, I'm not a nerd, I'm just a kid, I'm just existing.
Yeah.
And like that shot through the school, and that's kind of like what Peter is. Like Peter's just like a kid, and and there's not like,
it's not unbelievable
again,
that he's
they
just a
subverted
kid.
so many tropes. Flash wasn't a
I know.
jock. Flash was like he's like more of a nerd than Peter, and he's just
Yeah.
jealous of Peter because he's like smarter than him, and he has like the car, and then Peter takes his car, and he's like, "This is my dad's car," and he's like, "Get out!" And he's like, "Okay." This
Flash was okay. I was alright.
I liked it. I really liked how different it was. That's what I mean. They really went out of their way to make it different. I think with Amazing Spider-Man, they were like, see the Sam Raimi films? Make them again, but make them cooler. Whereas with this, they were like, look at the comics, go back to the source, and make completely new sort of films. And they set him in the suburb. Aunt May is like younger.
Yeah,
like,
they were
and Amazing
yeah.
Spider-Man was like almost like a copy and paste like of that. Like they tried to recontextualize like the line like with great power comes great responsibility. In Amazing Spider-Man, it's like if you were able to do things
and you
that
could do
other
them
people
well.
couldn't do, then you had an obligation to do those things. It's awful. It's so stupid.
It is bad. Yeah.
And it's whereas like in
Suppress
this,
that one.
they just got away with that completely. They just got away from it. They were like, no, we're gonna make like a new film with all the new like with different stuff, and they did a lot of different.
I think
stuff which I
the only thing I didn't like about it was
The twist.
The twist.
Yeah.
I just didn't like it. It just felt.
I'm surprised you didn't see it coming because usually you've
been
I'm sitting
pretty-
next
yeah,
to you
you've
and
been
you
like
say
you're like
Yeah.
4 for 5 or whatever.
I
Yeah.
called
You
the
say
Wonder
the next
Woman
line.
in the
I
first
know.
10 minutes. I'm like hanging on to that. I'm just telling everyone. I was like, yeah, look how good I am.
We were sitting
No,
watching
the,
the Umbilical Brothers the other night. And he said the line before the guy on stage did. And I was like, God damn it, Sean!
I said it.
I wanted him to
but I
deliver
didn't
it.
always like. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I really like the villain, though. I think he's like one of the better Marvel.
So at least I can believe you when you walk out and you say, I knew that was going to happen because you actually said it. So.
Sometimes I can, yeah.
I think I really did like the villain, though. He was like one of the better Marvel villains.
So yeah,
they humanized him. Like even the first scene is all about the villain.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
which is
we
different.
haven't really seen. Yeah, and and he was believable. Like it was like he got screwed over, but you saw like he was a family man. Like he's like,
you can see how he got to there. He wasn't just a bad guy.
This is one of my things about how Homecoming was so good. Was like the villain and it all connected to the MCU as a whole. Like it was set directly after the Avengers
playground. It was just like have fun, and Spider-Man's
like here's all the debris and it was such a local story. But it was also like, to me, it was what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the TV show, could have been, because it was like it was like set in the aftermath. There was like clear references. There was cameos from Iron Man.
Like Tony Stark and
it was
John Favreau.
everything that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. could have been.
All the alien technology,
which I guess Vulture and Tony Stark are together now at the end.
Sorry, what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Pepper Potts.
Oh yeah,
at the end. Yeah.
Because he didn't have anything else to.
Yeah.
Well, that scene was that tricked me, like with you before, like that moment where I was like thinking it over, because they were like, I was like, oh, they're about to go out the front and do a press conference, and he was like, oh, there's not really people, is there? It's a twist, and I was like, oh yeah, of course. Yeah. And then I was like running it over in my head, and I was like, oh wait, maybe there is, and then there was, and I was like, oh jeez. And then Pepper Potts was there, and he's like, oh, you know, should we just get married? And
have you got that ring? And he's been holding onto it for like 8 years.
That was a bit much. I thought. Yeah, that's funny though.
I love Jon Favreau though.
He was pretty good.
I think he has too much fun in Marvel movies. I know I say this every time we do a podcast.
He's in like 2 of them, or like 3 of them. Yeah,
he's in like 4 of them.
Yeah, he's in a lot. Yeah. But no, it was. It was just like no holding back. Like the whole plot revolves around the Avengers, like the Chitauri. Like that's how Vulture. And again, I think we talked about this. Yeah, it's like I don't know what the name Vulture comes from in the comics, but I liked in this he was picking off pieces from like Avengers battles and making it. And I was like, oh, that's really cool.
I didn't.
I hate to admit that. Well, I didn't get it until like the second time I watched it, and I was like, oh, it makes so much sense now.
Yeah. Until you told me.
The Vulture. Yeah,
but I love that they even kept like his fluffy like Vulture.
Oh, and the way it like
with the motorcycle jacket.
He was freaking scary in the first scene.
Scary,
Spider-Man's like chasing that car, and then he's like this, and then and it just like he grabs him.
Yeah.
And he's like he takes him like up into the air, and Spider-Man's falling. And it's a great bit when Spider-Man pulls away from the parachute. It's very subtle. There's like the moon, and the Vulture like does like that kind of thing in front of the moon.
Oh, okay.
It's very subtle. I scored it the first time. I was like, that's kind of cool. Like it's a little visual thing. Like he does like almost like the way the bat signal kind of. It's like the Vulture's in front of the moon.
Wink.
Perfectly.
Do you ever remember that time Michael Keaton was in a Batman film?
Well, we talked about that. Yeah, it's like this weird, like.
We've done
he's
this.
Batman.
I think we've done this today.
And then Birdman, which is like a wink and a nod to Batman, and now this is the Vulture, which is like Birdman. I think I said it. It was like the writer's like in a mirror winking at himself into a coma, because it's like built upon like next it'll be like.
There's no way.
I don't even know what you could do. He just plays a chicken in something. Like, I don't know. Like
he'll do the voice.
He's actually he's a bird. He's the voice.
He'll do the voice of a bat in some animated film. That would be great.
And he's called Vulture. That's his name, whatever. Yeah. And he's an actor bat, and he's like a failed actor bat in the bat world.
Who used to act.
It was like just when I read that announcement, I'm like, is this a joke? Like what? But I love Michael Keaton. I think he's a tremendous actor. And
I think he's actually getting better with age.
And he had so much. Well, that's because people are giving him more of a chance now. Because he kind of dropped off, I think, and then he came back with Birdman. Didn't win the Oscar.
Birdman was amazing.
Didn't win the Oscar, unfortunately. But I think it did open up a lot of avenues and stuff that were like, oh shit, like we forgot about this guy.
Yeah, but it still got Best Picture, right? He didn't get Best Actor, but I'm pretty sure.
No, because I feel like.
No, I'm like 90% sure it did.
What's the Leonardo DiCaprio one where he fights a bear?
That was the year after, I think.
I think
Revenant?
Revenant, yeah.
I think the Revenant was...
Yeah, that was not the same
we should take a bet. Let's take a bet right now.
Yeah, I'm finding out for you guys.
I don't have any money either.
Birdman was 2015. 2014, sorry.
Oh, come on. This is on camera too.
We're going to be off track, yeah.
No, well, this can be the
last
point.
Felix,
I'm
flustered.
This is a short Spoilercast. We can
what did you think of the AI?
Oh, the girl AI.
Yeah, what did you think of that whole thing?
Yeah,
because I was like, it almost was like too much like Tony Stark. Like it's like Tony Stark.
He made the suit, so I was okay with it. I was absorbed straight into
I was listening to a thing that put it very well. That was like in the comics, so Spider-Man's so talky and quippy, and that's who he is.
Yeah.
And I don't quite like that every character now is kind of becoming that, but Spider-Man's always been like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
And he's a kid, so
when he puts the suit on, that's like there's like other personas.
Yeah, it's kind of like when
Peter
people,
Parker's kind of shy.
It's like
Spider-Man's
when it's like when people go on
cocky.
the internet and are anonymous and they be dicks. It's kind of like that.
It is like that. Yeah.
It is exactly like that.
No one knows who you are.
He puts on a mask and he can kind of be a dick to the villains and stuff like that. And,
I think I see where you're going with this. Like he doesn't have anyone to interact.
He doesn't have
with
anyone to talk to because in the comics it's a thought bubble. They can draw the thought bubble, whereas in real life you can't be like it's like, oh wow, I can't believe I made that. Like talking to himself.
They had to make the AI.
So they gave him someone to bounce off of, and I think I was like, I never thought of it that way, and I was like,
I didn't think of that
that's
either,
ingenious
that's
almost.
clever,
like that's quite cool.
Yeah, because it wasn't abrupt. It didn't feel like it didn't fit in at all. Yeah. It was good. Good play. Good play. Sorry. What's the I forgot.
I love Martin Starr from Silicon Valley, like as the teacher, and he's like, I can't. He's like, I'm so glad we didn't lose a student. He's like, I can't lose another one or something like that. He's like, no.
No, I called that as well.
Like, Birdman got Best Picture.
Boo!
All right.
Yes.
But we were all sitting. I feel like Leo beat him at the Oscars, but
we were all sitting there, and
they're in different years, right?
I just said this.
They both won Best Picture.
That's the end of the podcast.
Jack's wrong. What are you saying?
Yeah, well, we were sitting there, and it was like, oh, I'm so glad I couldn't go through losing a student like that, and I was like, again, and then there was like a 2-second delay on screen. It was like, again. I was like, I called that.
Not again.
But the kids who were doing that like school announcement thing were pretty funny.
Yeah,
like, he was like
that kid that does the buzzer or whatever, and he's like that is incorrect, and he's like, don't use the buzzer for comedic effect. There was just I saw that.
I wanted to go to that school.
I saw that scene. I was just like, they're nailing it. I was like, this is so just fun. Like it is fun. Yeah. I'm trying to think of other ways to sort of talk about. I don't want to go too long though.
No, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, I think we should wrap it up.
Is there anything else you sort of liked, disliked? I'm trying to remember like scenes that I really liked as well.
There was a lot of good
The whole MJ thing was a bit of a
weird, I thought. I mean, I like that character.
I like the character, and I like that they did that, but it seems like a lot of people
was it
didn't.
Not? Why was it a secret? Why does
some people call me MJ?
Which is
it's
like
a
and it was
nod.
like, oh, it's MJ, but they're
nods.
like, but it's not Mary Jane. I'm like, then what? Like, is it just so you don't piss off all those people that are like, Mary Jane can't be black, man? And it's like, I don't understand that argument. I'm like,
so
shut the hell
stupid.
up. Yeah, like Mary Jane can be whatever. Donald Glover. I kind of felt that was too fan servicey for me, and I was like, he's got no purpose being in this film. I didn't quite like him until the sort of interrogation scene, which I thought that was quite a fun scene.
Yeah, it was good that they brought him back. I agree.
Yeah,
because when he was in it, just in that scene on the bridge, I was like, okay,
we're doing this. But like, what is he doing? He's like,
this is a long cameo.
I don't want that gun. I don't want that. I was like, I don't know.
I don't want that, man.
But he was more fleshed out in the later scene. I kind of understood it. But apparently he's Miles Morales' uncle.
Yeah.
So Miles Morales is in that universe, supposedly. So it could be two Spider-Mans.
Because he mentions in the interrogation, he's like, oh, my nephew grows up around here. And I was like, oh, crap, is that Miles Morales?
Yeah. There was a ton of Easter eggs and cool stuff from the Marvel. Like all the Captain America.
Oh, that was
vids.
Great. And after credits
what did you think of the end credits scene?
Remind me.
Captain America's like, I'm here to talk to you about patience.
Oh, that's
patience
right. In the detention or something like that.
And he's like smiling as well.
He's got like a little tiny smirk. The amount of people that are like, and it's the weird.
It's like, fuck you, Chris Evans.
It's like, fuck you for being a fan. Yeah, it's like, sorry I waited and I like your thing. Why am I being...
No, I loved it. I loved it though.
I loved it too, but I'm like, I don't want to do it again. Like, I really hope the next film has like a decent... Because we haven't had like a decent one.
Not for a while.
Not since... Avengers, I want to say, really.
I can't remember.
Or maybe Ant-Man had that bit of Civil War. He's like, I know a guy. You're like, because I just watched it. Like, Because my camera only does 30-minute chunks. We should wrap it up right there.
Right, we're done.
It's about to stop in like.
Thank you for watching. That
Scorpion,
was the Spoilercast.
He's the villain. He was in the last.
Good job, everyone. Thanks for watching.
See you guys. That's Spider-Man Spoilercast.